What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and I am so glad to be back. In case you didn't notice, I was actually incredibly sick this week, but as you can hear, I am fully healed, and man, you have no idea how excited I am to be back on camera talking to you. And today, I've got a heck of a rant topic. Right now, there are all sorts of rumors floating around that the PlayStation 5 may be coming very soon. Yes, we're talking as early as 2019, there could be an official PlayStation 5. And the response to this has actually been very, very mixed. Now, for the most part, people seem a little bit upset, and I can understand why. This generation has actually been a little bit on the shorter side. Overall, if you look at it, each console generation is about 6 to 7 years. Like, look at the gap. The original Nintendo, this one that's behind me right here, this came out in 1983. The Super Nintendo came out in 1990. A nice 7-year gap. But then, the Nintendo 64, right after the Super Nintendo, came out in 1996. All throughout the 90s and into the early 2000s, people were very used to the idea of these 6 and 7 year console cycles. That is until everything changed with the release of the Xbox 360. This system was on the market and being sold as the primary console for 9 years. That is pure insanity. Microsoft and Sony were really worried about trying to come out with a new giant expensive console at a time when people were afraid to even try and pay their rent one day late. So they were a little bit nervous about trying to come out with this new $300 or $500 console to replace the current $300 consoles, and it really wasn't a smart move, so they just kept dragging it out. And what's really interesting about that is look at how games looked at the beginning of the Xbox 360 versus how they looked at the end of the Xbox 360. Game developers got so creative and learned so much about the language of the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 that there was this humongous gap in how things could look and play. And I really think that we need that again with the PlayStation 4. Now, the PlayStation 4, I'm not asking it to be on the market for 8 years or 9 years, but maybe 7. I would say at least 7. The PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out in 2013 and already were selling like crazy. These devices were both very, very hyped up and really seem like this next generation of gaming. Titles like Watch Dogs really push people to pick these things up and see what the next generation of console gaming would be like. This energy and excitement has not stopped. People are still buying these consoles faster than ever. If you look at the raw sales data right now for the PlayStation 4, it's still selling hundreds of thousands of units every single week. This is already probably past 60 million total sales. The idea of them trying to release a sequel to this console is only going to shoot themselves in the foot. I think we have a lot more room to explore what these consoles can do. Now, I think that 2019 specifically just seems way, way too early. I've been talking to people on Twitter, and most people are basically saying, I won't buy a PlayStation 5 before 2021. People want this to be a 7-year console generation, and I can totally agree with that. But somebody that's actually not on board with this is, I see a lot of developers are not happy with this. Recently, in the era of computer gaming, so much has already been advancing so fast. The stuff they're able to do now on PCs is incredible, and right now, console developers are being held back. Let's face it, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One aren't super powerful. I mean, they do put out some really shiny graphics, but they're very limited frame rate wise. They're very held back just by the fact that this technology isn't super cutting edge. I guess what really makes me the most nervous is that everybody is speculating that the PlayStation 5 is going to be a very small upgrade. It's not going to be as big of a leap as the Super Nintendo to the Nintendo 64. It's going to be more along the lines of the PlayStation to a slightly better PlayStation 1. It's going to have better frame rates, less load times, maybe a better hard drive, maybe some slightly redone controller, but it's not going to try and reinvent the wheel. It's not going to try and bring out even bigger open world games, and that just seems like a bit of a waste. The problem is, you always have to worry about not alienating your audience. Right now, the PlayStation 4 is selling like gangbusters. You don't want to get in the way of that. This thing is moving as fast as they can create them, literally. If you go to any store, like right now, if you walk into a Walmart and look at the store shelves, there's a good chance that even now, there's probably not going to be that many PlayStation 4s there, because they're selling that fast. Up to this point, console generations have really relied heavily on the idea of creating a next generation of consoles. You want to try and make it where the new product is so big and so much more advanced that you want to throw away the old hardware instantly. The Xbox One already had graphics that were so big, so shiny, and so good looking that people were trading in their Xbox 360s by the millions as soon as it was shown. That's the kind of energy that we need. We need the PlayStation 5 to be a big advancement, and right now I'm not sure the technology exists for that. See, we're just in a weird spot. Right now, the PlayStation 4 is still pretty powerful. It's strong enough. If you look at the graphics of Last of Us Remastered, you're not exactly seeing tiny little jaggies. It doesn't look pixelated. This is not the original Tomb Raider. These people look human. The graphics are fantastic. How much can you really leap above that with a PlayStation 5? And so because of it, if they come out and show a trailer that looks extra good, but is just a marginal upgrade, do you really think people are going to buy that? Do you really think that, say they come out with this 5-minute super in-depth gameplay trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, and it looks marvelous, and you see Mickey with individual hairs on his face beating the hell out of some Heartless, and then at the end of the trailer it says, coming to the PlayStation 5 in 2019. Do you think that's going to have a positive response? No, because we're in a spot right now where people just aren't ready to buy this again. The weird thing about this console generation specifically, when I was really analyzing the numbers, is a lot of people joined it late. A lot of people only now are buying a PlayStation 4. Literally, in the last 6 months, their sales numbers have almost doubled. And the reason for this is now the price is finally getting affordable. People who are a little bit on the more broke end are finally able to get a $200 PlayStation 4 and join this generation. If you tell them, alright, well you just spent $200 to try and join in on the fun, but you better be ready to trade that in for store credit because now you gotta get ready for the $500 PlayStation 5. You are going to end up turning off such a giant part of the fan base for no reason. And for that reason, I guess what I want to say is, I'm fully on board with the idea of a PlayStation 5. It's going to be exciting. New technology is always a good thing. It advances so many ideas and it opens up so many extra doors to new gaming ideas. I'm totally on board with it. But I think that it needs to come out late 2020 at the minimum, or hopefully 2021. This console generation has just begun and it's already making a lot of money for everybody. Don't try and put your own party on hold. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. This has been DreamcastGuy with another gaming rant. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Also, down in the comments, seriously let me know your thoughts on what you think would be the ideal release date. Or do you think that there shouldn't be a PlayStation 5? That's seriously something that some people are saying. That maybe this should be the last console generation and that we just learn to adapt or maybe do small upgrades like the PlayStation 4 Pro. Man, I am sputtering over myself. Okay, well I'm going to go try and take apart this Xbox 360. I think it's broken and I kind of want to see what's inside. Oh man, I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, let's do this. Oh, hey! I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad and I'm sure you can just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.